welcome to episode 1 of Spotlight on FASD. My name is Clare.
And I'm Jessica.
And we are going to be your hosts for as long as we can possibly find things to talk about with regards to FASD and everything that means.
A lot.
Yes, lots and lots of stuff. So that nobody's confused, we have got some new followers, and we've just done a collaboration with Nudge Education, and we've just done 5 podcast episodes with them, all things FASD, but with a specific slant on education. So this is us now. This is episode 1 of us going solo, and our kind of solo venture in our podcast. I just don't want anyone to be confused thinking that there are 2 episode 1s. The Nudge Education, they are absolutely brilliant, so I advise you to go and listen to them, but this is us going solo. And our plan is to unpick every single aspect of FASD, the good, the bad and the ugly. And there's lots of good, there's lots of ugly, but we want to unpick it all. Our mission is to remove the stigma around it, and just certainly focus on the positives, but not shy away from the hard stuff. So we plan to talk about everything. So there are going to be thousands of episodes, and we've talked about it a lot. We want to be influenced by you. We want to know what you want us to find out about, what you want us to talk about. So we're going to need your help as well to guide us, because if you already know anything about FASD, you will know what a huge minefield it is, and it's a way to start. We've been brainstorming, haven't we, to think, where can we start? Can we do any order to it? And then we've decided we don't know if we're going to do an order to it, because it's not very orderly, is it, FASD?
It's so far from orderly. So yeah, I think we'll get more specific as time goes on. So we'll start discussing some broader topics, and then really start to focus in, and like you said, be very, very guided by what people
and I think as well it might be hopefully guided by issues that people are struggling with or living with or going through at that time, because we have got a wealth of experience between us, but we've also got a wealth of experience in a lot of our colleagues and a lot of the people who we work with within the world of FASD. So we plan to have guests, lived experience and professionals and academics. So we want to put some meat on the bones, because there's just not enough meat on the bones, is there? There's not enough people know.
Question and answers as well. So we will be, we've got a Twitter, we've got an Instagram, but if you follow us on Instagram, we will be taking questions there when we plan to do Q&A sessions, where we will, we'll take all of your questions the week before, and then we'll go and put our heads together and, try and get lots and lots of...
like, why is my child stop sleeping? Why will my child only eat the same thing for every meal? Like, just little things like that.
Yeah, all of those things. We'll do our best to answer all those questions. And so there will be, we've got episodes where the 2 of us will be talking, where we've got guests in, where we'll be doing question and answers. And
I'm dead excited. I'm so excited. I just think it's a lovely... We want it to be a lovely thing to talk about, because it's, it's there. There's no getting away from it. It doesn't have to be drenched in negativity, and often it is. So we just want to kind of lift the veil and talk about things from, like, unpicking every aspect of education, and that might be, what kind of school is the right school? Do they need an EHCP? How do you get an EHCP? What needs to be on an EHCP? Who needs to be involved in an EHCP assessment? To, it's really difficult with the mums in the yard, and why is my child struggling to get invited to, not in the COVID world of parties, but pre-COVID and post-COVID, to, I don't know, opticians appointments, to prevention, to how your family interacts with your child with FASD. And so we just want to cover absolutely everything.
everything, and put a spotlight on it. That brings us like to the name, why we called it Spotlight FASD. We want to shine a spotlight on this condition, and
it's hidden. It's often it is lots of people will call it a hidden epidemic, and it is hidden, and that is just, I don't think that's often done purposefully, but I think it's because people just don't know enough about it, and often professionals, especially medical professionals who really don't know enough about it, just don't then want to acknowledge that it's there, or that it could be a possibility with your child, or a child that you're taking care of. And we just want...
It's a challenging condition for people who don't understand it. That can be,
it's a challenging condition for people who do understand it.
But it's a more challenging condition for those living with it.
Yeah. Oh God, absolutely. Yeah. So I think actually that's really good timing for us to explain who we are and why people need to listen to us, because we'll be thinking, what on earth? Why should we listen to you? So I am an adoptive mum of 3 teenagers, all with FASD. So I adopted them when they were babies, and we kind of went for a decade with no diagnosis and not really knowing what we were dealing with. So now we're in teens and we're navigating secondary education, or not, but that's where we are. So I have lived experience. So some people will call me an expert by experience. I say that I am accidentally an expert because I feel that I am an expert. I didn't want to be, I didn't set out to be, but I accidentally am. And I think that between my 3 and between lots of the different families that I've worked with and I've supported, there probably isn't a situation that I haven't encountered or got some experience of. And I just think that I feel my strengths lie in the fact that I did it wrong for so long. I parented them wrong. And I'm not kind of saying that and going, no, you didn't, you did a great job. No, actually, I absolutely did it wrong. I did traditional parenting, I did naughty step, I did reward charts, and I didn't realise I was meant to be parenting them the complete opposite way. So I was causing more damage to their already damaged brains. So I think there's no better lesson coming from getting something so wrong to turning it around. So that's why I'm sitting here, and that's how I know Jess, because we met through this world of FASD. So I'll let you introduce yourself and say why you are here with the brains.
I'm very quickly first going to come back to what you just said about how you did it wrong for so long, and standing up and owning that you felt that you were doing it wrong. And something that we want to highlight throughout this journey is that our entire, all of our messaging here is based around what we didn't know. There's no shame, no blame. We simply didn't know.
Yep, I didn't know.
Very much speaking from that space. So she did it wrong. Now she knows better. Now she knows more. And things are different.
That's our favourite saying, isn't it? Now that we know better, we do better.
Yes.
And that's what this is all about. We know better now, so we do better now. But I don't beat myself up about it. If anything, it's not comforting, but at least I know where I was going wrong now, and I know what I was doing wrong, and so I'm able to say, point out, potentially that parenting course isn't going to work in this situation because it's for neurotypical children, and it's going to have the opposite impact. So and the professionals who are, if I'm dealing with families and stuff, they're like, oh right, okay, what should we do? So it's not like I'm not met with a brick wall. Definitely not. So I feel that people are really thirsty for this information now. People know that it's not going anywhere. We've got the very first nice quality standards are going to be coming out next year around FASD, because we know that it outnumbers other very common conditions quite significantly. So we can't ignore it any longer. It's not fair. It's not fair on the warriors who live with it every single day. So this is what we want to do. We want to shine a spotlight on it.
Definitely. And well, I'll let everybody know who I am, what I'm doing, what brought me to this, because I'm not a parent. I don't have any children. I'm not living with this day to day, but I stumbled across FASD accidentally when I first started my PhD. And I knew that I wanted to work with children and young people who had some neurodevelopmental condition, neurodiversity, just, you know, children who were struggling with education in that mainstream setting. That was what I was seeking when I started my PhD. And I came across FASD and I found it to be just the most fascinating condition because of the lack of information.
Just with that nerd brain.
So this was 2015, and honestly, like, there's so much stuff come out since then. There's so many researchers and people in this field, but there was nothing that, I mean, there was, but in comparison to like autism and Down syndrome and any other conditions, it was really tiny. And my supervisors, when I presented this to them, were a bit like, oh, can you like make life a little bit easier for yourself? You've got nothing to start with here.
No, I want a challenge.
Yeah, and I was just hooked to learning more and more and more about this.
It genuinely did fascinate you, didn't it? You were like, oh my God, this is unbelievable, and which with such high prevalence, and why did I not know about it? Why did I not know about it growing up? Why did I not know it was a thing?
Nobody knew about it. I started talking to people who had worked in special education and all these different areas, and they're like, what? And you can see people, when you slow down fetal alcohol spectrum disorders, you can see people processing it. Like, oh, okay. Oh, kids whose mothers are alcoholics. That's a whole nother episode. We'll come back to that one.
Not that.
That's definitely not the case.
Well, sometimes you could talk to a professional and just go, have you had a child who was this, and this, did this, and this? If you did this, they didn't respond. Yeah, FASD. Oh my God. There's so many conversations like that I have with professionals who are like totting up, thinking, oh, them and her and him, and then it's awful because they then realise that they weren't doing things the right way, you know. And I would say that's probably the only one of the downsides when you do take on these huge leaps, because they have been huge leaps since we met each other a few years ago. It's like this tidal wave is just build and momentum, isn't it? But I think that it's awful to look back. I do it as a parent. I look back and think, oh God, I can't believe I tried to force her to do swimming lessons every Friday night with 100 other kids, and the noise. And when I know about all of our sensory problems now, it makes us feel sick if I let myself go on that mother guilt trip of thinking, I can't believe I made her do that. But I didn't know then what I know now.
We know more now, Claire. That's it.
I do better.
And it's so important to come from that place of learning as well. And you know, I've come at this from an academic background and an academic point of view, but my biggest challenge with this condition was that the literature just wasn't making sense. The literature was coming from doctors and pediatricians, psychologists, psychiatrists, and everything I was reading, I was like, what do you mean? What does that mean? What does that look like? So I went off and found a summer camp that I worked with. So I was with camp for 3 years, and that's where all of my real life experience, my real world experience of this condition has come from. And that's what allows me to understand it. It's not the academic side, it's not that perspective that allows me to understand this condition at all. Nothing fell into place for me until I started working with those children at that summer.
You used to say to me about when you would read over and over that it was frontal, what do you used to say, like frontal
deficit?
Yeah. And then you were like, but what does that look like? And I'll go, so you know what that means, I can show you what that looks like in day-to-day life with mine. So, and that's why we work so well together, because you do have to mix the academic side of it with the lived experience for it all to make sense. So that's why we decided to create this podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, and it is a podcast, but we are also recording. It will also go on YouTube as well. There will be the video.
We'll definitely get better at it as well. Like, we won't be blinding ourselves with sunshine. We will get better. No, but we decided on a podcast because if FASD is in your life in any way, shape or form, you're going to be a bit busy. So we thought a podcast, headphones on, or when you're driving somewhere, when you're doing something, or when you're up for the 7th time during the night with one of your children, then you can listen to it. So that's the idea behind it, and we hope that we bring comfort and knowledge and share our knowledge, that we are learning something new literally every single day about it. And I just know that I wish that I had been able to listen to a podcast 5 or 6 years ago where people were just talking about it normally, so that I didn't think that I was going quite as insane as I felt like I was going.
Yeah, we want people who are living with this, parenting it, caring for individuals, just to understand that they're not alone. There are people out there who get it. We want the teachers to know that there are other teachers experiencing this. Like, we're just trying to package all this information up and get it to people in the quickest and easiest way that you can consume that information, but also make it real, make it lighthearted, make it, we don't want it to be a chore for you to learn about this condition. We want to make it,
We're going to try and think of a really good way to index it all so that you can search quickly, because I want, obviously parents, carers, family members, but professionals, learning support assistants, teachers, therapists. So for us to compile a wealth of information that, say, for example, a learning support assistant is taking care of a child with FASD, so that they can specifically go to the bits that'll be really relevant to them. So like a how-to guide, like a user guide. Yeah, like a user guide. Yeah. And obviously we're quite good crack as well. So
a modern day version of a user guide, a handbook, and we'll have a bit of a laugh along the way. But yeah, so where are these going to be? Remind me. You did tell me. What's that website called?
First of all, what I want to talk about was the ones we've done in collaboration with Nudge Education. So that's nudgeeducation.co.uk, who are a fantastic provider for children who are disengaged from education.
So for anybody struggling to find people who get it.
Yeah, they absolutely get it. And I'm speaking from experience, because I found Nudge Education to help me with my children. That's how I ended up doing that collaboration with them. And then we've got we are on Instagram, Twitter, and you're going to be able to find these episodes exactly the same way as the Nudge ones. So we'll be on Apple and Spotify and
Anchor.
Anchor, yeah.
There'll be a link to Anchor, and from there it'll direct you whether you've got Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or.
But if you look for Spotlight on FASD on social media, the links will always be there and they'll be updated. And we aim to have an episode a week, and we think we're going to launch them on a Friday. Publish, launch. I don't know what you call it.
On the internet.
Go live on a Friday, because I'm hoping that, I just think, from my point of view, if you've had a particularly tricky week, certainly if you're parenting FASD, to think that there might be something being talked about, you might have a slightly more chance of a teeny tiny pocket of downtime to listen to some things. I'm being realistic there, because obviously I'm mother 3 of them. But that's why we've decided to do it at the end of the week, so that we might hopefully catch professionals when they've got a tiny little bit of downtime, able to listen to stuff. So that's us, and that's what we want to do, and want you to come along on our journey, and really guide us as well, and tell us what you want us to find out about. And
that's it, yeah.
About.
We'll be on YouTube as well, and we'll have Yeah, you can put comments and things on YouTube, can't you?
Yeah.
So Instagram, we will do the Q&A boxes, but also like if you're watching on YouTube, all the episodes will be on there, and you can comment and say like, what are you talking about? We missed something. Please expand on that.
Yeah. Because we do want to literally dissect it all, every aspect of it, and put it under a microscope. And we're going to learn. We'll definitely learn along the way, especially some of the guests that we've got planned. I can't wait to talk to some of them and pick their brains.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. So that's us. That's our first episode, I think, and we want to try and keep them snappy so that you're able to digest them in one go. So just look out for us. So episode 2. Not going to lie, we haven't even decided exactly what that's going to be about yet, but it will be worth listening to.
That's fantastic. And we might have different seats in our houses.
Yeah, where the sun doesn't mind. So yeah,
we'll get a different background every week until these COVID restrictions disappear.
Then we can be in the same room together with nice big fancy podcasty microphones and things. Yeah. But until then, it's Zoom.
Everything's Zoom until then.
So we hope to have your ears next time.
Yeah, thank you very, very much for listening, and for those who are watching as well, thank you for joining us.